hello, everyone. I'm so glad to talk to you today on this beautiful Thursday. It is now February. Man, before we know it, it's going to be Christmas again. Maybe the Panthers will be good by then. Ha 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 ha. 844 Studio 4, 844-788-3464. This is the Scoreboard. We are your home for local, regional, national sports, anything and everything under the sun we will talk about, including some new topics today. We are going to dive into the 2 bits of Formula One news that have broken in the past 24 hours. It's big stuff. So if you follow Formula One, you might want to stick around for that. Also, the Carolina Panthers, they are in the news today. Why? Well, they had their introductory press conference for head coach Dave Canales and for general manager Dan Morgan. I have one audio clip from that I'd like to share with you a little bit later on in the show. We will hear from Dave Canales. Dave and Dan. It's going to take a minute to get used to which one's which. Dave and Dan. All right. Dan Canales, we will hear from him a little bit later on in the show as he sat down for an interview about his future and the outlook of the Carolina Panthers. So that is in the news also, as well as NASCAR Cup Series action coming up. I watched episode 1 of NASCAR Full Speed is what I think it's called. I'm just double checking on that right now because they always name these shows really weird. NASCAR Full Speed on Netflix, and boy, do I have some things to say about that. Oh, man. We will get into that, as well as we always do, we have our high school basketball update. We will talk some college basketball, as last night there were a few scares and an upset that took place, so we will touch on those. And if time permits, we'll see where we're at towards the end of the show. It is NHL All-Star Weekend. We will not have any Carolina Hurricane games for the next few days. Actually, it's going to be a minute before they're back on air on your TV, going after that number 1 seeded New York Ranger team. Next game for Carolina is at home, though. They take on the Vancouver Canucks. That's going to be on Tuesday, the 6th. So you have to wait till next week for that, as they've had quite a few days off here with the All-Star break. But we're going to continue to get right into things here. We have our high school basketball update. There were no games last night, but I do have to, I guess, make a correction on my part. That was also a correction on Max Prep's part. I'm looking through the schedule and looking through the records and seeing where everybody stacks up the same way they always do. And I noticed that the Lake Norman Wildcats were 18-2. And if you've been listening, you know I've been saying they have 1 loss. Well, that's because as of today, we just got this game entered into Max Preps, a game on December 29th versus Stewart. It's Start versus Start basketball. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're from. They're from Toledo, Ohio, in case you were curious. But apparently, in late December, Lake Norman ended up losing that game to Start, whatever the name of the school is. They're in Ohio. We don't really care about them, to be honest with you. But I did need to at least update the record. So Lake Norman, we're going to start with them today. Normally we do Mooresville High School, but because we're talking about Lake Norman, we're going to start with them today. The updated record, 18-2, still undefeated in the conference. Nothing really changes there, but we have a few games left in the season. Next game for Lake Norman is on Friday. They will be taking on West Cabarrus at home. And then after that, there's only 4 more regular season games on the schedule. Most of these teams only have 5 in total remaining. So the playoff push is upon us. You got to win your games. You got to be in that top 32 to make the playoff bracket. So next on the list for Lake Norman, like I said, is West Cabarrus. That game is going to be tomorrow at 7:30 at Lake Norman High School. I don't have an update on the Mooresville basketball schedule or a record. They are still 13-3 and 5-3 in the conference. Big win the other day against Hickory Ridge. It drew them one game closer to Hickory Ridge. So we're still a game back there, but things starting to progress nicely for Mooresville as they look to get the best possible seed in the playoffs. Mooresville does not play on Friday. They are one of the teams that actually only has 4 games remaining in the high school basketball season. It's here. Playoffs are right around the corner. It's February. February is when playoffs start. So we will keep you updated as we head through the month and get into the playoffs. But next game for Mooresville is going to be February 6th at home against South Iredell High School at 7:30. As we move right along to one of our highlighted teams of the year, that being Statesville. They won their game on Tuesday against East Lincoln, 71-64. That brought them to 5-4 in the conference, still 4th place in the 3A Western Foothills, but they are tied with St. Stephen's right now. And in a couple of weeks, we do see Statesville High School squaring off against St. Stephen's. So that could be a very important game when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to rankings. So we'll keep our eye on that one. Statesville plays tomorrow. Their game is on the road against Ford High School. 7 o'clock tip-off on that one. West Iredell basketball still looking to turn their season around. They don't have much time left to do that. Only 5 games left, and after Friday, it'll only be 4. Their next game is against East Lincoln at 7:30. That's a home game for West Iredell as they sit with a 2-16 record. 0-9 in the playoffs, or in the conference. The last decent team, I'll say, in the area, I don't mean to throw any shade or anything, but I'm just letting you know that North Iredell is the only other team that's having some success this season. 8-11 right now. They did lose their most recent game. That game was against St. Stephen's on Tuesday, 78-50. But tomorrow, North Iredell back in action against North Lincoln. Big game. North Lincoln definitely the better team, but we'll see if North Iredell can put up a fight and continue to push for those playoffs. And lastly, unfortunately, not going to the playoffs this year. There's just absolutely no way. That is South Iredell High School. 2-17 on the year. Really just not what they were looking for at all. They boast an 8-game losing streak right now. Their next game tomorrow is on the road. They'll take on a good team in Hickory Ridge. Hopefully stop the bleeding soon. But we'll see. That is your high school sports update. We are here at our first break of the day. Don't go anywhere. When I return, I'm going to announce some tickets to an event that I am going to give away later in the show. You're listening to The Scoreboard. I'm your host, Joe Berg. Don't go anywhere. Don't change the channel. Don't turn the dial. Don't even think about getting out of your car because The Scoreboard is back right after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
We're getting cold again tonight under a partly cloudy sky. Overnight low temperatures dip back down into the mid-30s, but a nice day, a mild day on the way for our Friday. We'll have sunshine back. South of the lake, temperatures could warm up into the mid-60s. North of Lake Norman, likely warming into the low 60s. But the weekend will be nice, too. We'll have sunshine all the way through. Mornings will be cold, down around freezing, but high temperatures both Saturday and Sunday in the mid-50s. It's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Merlefest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Mooresville Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. an evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Chi-Town Transit Authority is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. Come here.
It wasn't me. I didn't do anything.
Tribute band. Horn and woodwind sections included. Chi-Town Transit Authority, Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. kanearts.org. That's CAINarts.org. The North Carolina Gun Collectors Association Gun Show is coming to the Statesville Civic Center, February 3rd and 4th. Always remember, safety first. For more info, including show rules and restrictions, visit the North Carolina Gun Collectors Association website. The NCGCA Gun Show, February 3rd and 4th, Statesville Civic Center. Want to attend the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford Chevrolet in Statesville.
You know Randy Marion is always the place to buy your new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, but how about Randy Marion wants to buy your car? If you have an extra vehicle sitting in your driveway today, come bring them to Randy Marion Chevrolet stores in Statesville. We want to buy it. We will give you top dollar, give you what you're looking for, and get rid of that extra car in the driveway. Come see us today, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville and Randy Marion Ford Lincoln.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. It is segment 2. This is the Scoreboard, and you are rocking with me for the next, about 41 minutes or so until we get to 7 o'clock. 844-788-3464 is the phone number. That's 844-STUDIO-4, and you might want to get busy dialing that phone, 844-788-3464, because in my hand, see if I can allow you guys to hear the shuffling of the tickets. Can you hear it? That's the sound of a free event that you might get to go to courtesy of WSIC. I have tickets to the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd to the 25th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Also, if you watch Bravo at all, there will be a special guest at this event, Craig Conover, with Bravo's hit series Southern Charm. He's going to be there on Friday and Saturday. So for your chance to win these tickets, give me a call, 844-788-3464. Until we see those phone lines buzzing, we're going to continue right on. And I got to say, I apologize if I seem a little off today. I'm getting some like fatigue or I don't know. My nose has been all stuffy today. My throat hurts. It's just been a weird day, you know. It's one of those days. But I'm going to try and make it through the next 40 minutes or so without any hiccups. Trying to do the show with the same amount of energy I bring every single day, because that is what makes the Scoreboard, in my opinion. Because I don't sit down. See this chair? I would throw it if I didn't think I'd get in trouble for that, because I don't need it. 844-788-3464. We're moving right along in our world of sports. Moving on to the college ranks right now, because there was some interesting college basketball taking place last night. First off, UConn stays the number 1 seed. They beat Providence 74-65, but I'm looking at the 2 seed, Purdue. Purdue generally regarded as the best team in the country right now, even though they aren't the number 1 ranked team. They almost got beat by Northwestern. Now, Northwestern, even though they're not ranked, they're not a terrible team this year, and it is a conference rivalry with the Big Ten. 15-6 on the year is Northwestern. They took Purdue into overtime, but Zach Edey scored 10 points in overtime. Purdue scores 24 as a team, almost 10 more than Northwestern to come away with a close 9-point win. This is what makes college basketball, in my opinion. You never know. Purdue last year, they lost to the 16 seed. I will always call that out because it was my alma mater who took them down. I wish they would have been the first ever 16 seed to beat a 1, but, that one goes to, UMBC, is that what it was? UMBC in Baltimore? I'm sure Bill on the Sticks is listening, and he would be able to tell me more about that, the Baltimore native that he is. But that is a little bit of what went on in college basketball last night. Also, man, we talked about it last week. Kentucky dropped a game, and here they are going to overtime with Florida. Yes, it is an SEC rivalry game, but Kentucky, the 10 seed, lost in overtime, 94-91, and they're going to fall even farther in the rankings. I don't know what's going to happen to them. Obviously, they're going to make the tournament. They're a really good team and a really big name. You can't keep Kentucky out. It's a big name right there. But they lost to Florida 94-91. And we do have some games moving along tonight. Just a couple of ranked games, though. At 8:30, you'll see the 6 seed Wisconsin take on Nebraska in a Big Ten rivalry game. And the 11 seed Arizona plays California in another rivalry game, that one in the Pac-12. When you look around the rest of Division I basketball, there's some interesting games going on. UNC Wilmington's in action against Charleston. North Carolina A&T plays Hampton. And let's see. Oh, here they are. Fairleigh Dickinson University, my alma mater, plays Long Island University at 7 o'clock tonight. Yeah, I'm not going to tune into that one. I'm sorry, FDU. I hope this clip doesn't get back to you, but, you don't move the needle. Start moving the needle a little bit, and then maybe I'll tune into your basketball games. Just a little poking fun at my alma mater there. There's no hard feelings. They beat a 16 seed. We love them. Also, App State, 17-4 right now. 8-1 in the Sun Belt. They're having a really good year. Tournament? Question mark? I don't know. We'll see. App State takes on Georgia State tonight at 7 o'clock. That's just some of the college basketball games going on tonight. There are a ton of them tonight. The 2 ranked teams, and then a few local area teams, too. We do have a caller on our line waiting patiently to join the scoreboard. Let's go ahead and bring them in now. Caller, you are on the scoreboard. What do you have for me today?
Hey, Joe, let's talk about the Tar Heel Duke game coming up this weekend.
It's on Saturday. It's on Saturday.
Yeah.
All right.
Will that move the needle for you? You'll tune into that one, you think?
I'll tell you what, Duke, North Carolina is the needle in college basketball. They are one of the biggest storylines all the time. Have you thought of a good bet? Because I have one in mind for Saturday.
Oh, okay. Let's hear your idea.
All right. North Carolina wins, and you get to come into the studio and join me live. What do you think?
If Carolina wins, I come into the studio live.
We can get you all dressed up. We'll get our makeup person to put some makeup on you. You'll look all nice and pretty, and I will give you, specifically you, a guest spot on the scoreboard to just boast about North Carolina, because I love that you call in multiple times a week.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like a deal there. Yeah, you'll have to come up with a lot of makeup to make this presentable, but we'll work.
We'll work it out. I know we got a great makeup person back. We don't have a makeup person, actually. It's just my ugly face on the radio. But that is my idea. Now, the other end of that is, what happens if Duke wins? You see where I'm going with
Duke
that?
Wins.
Yeah, what happens if Duke wins?
Yeah.
I
was just
think.
gonna bet something simple. About we were talking about a cheeseburger or something last time.
I'll take
but,
it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
kinda
Ding, ding,
changed
ding.
it, but you'll take it.
I'll take
Burger?
it. I'll
Okay.
take a lunch, a nice lunch.
Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go. There
why
you go.
not? Why not? So there it is. There is the bet. I'm going to lock it in. We have a live bet on the scoreboard. We're probably going to end up having you in studio because I think North Carolina is going to win the game.
I sure hope so. Yeah, I think they'll bounce back from. They had a pitiful performance at Georgia Tech, but I think that maybe was a good wake-up call. And sometimes I hate when you lose, but sometimes that kind of gets a little pep in the step. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. Well, here's the deal. If North Carolina wins on Monday, I want to see you right here at WSIC in our parking lot right around 6 o'clock, and I'll bring you in. We'll chat a little on the air, and we'll have some fun with it. How's that sound?
okay, yeah, that sounds good, buddy. Sounds good.
All right. Well, there it is. That's the bet. We're gonna lock it in here with another ding. All right. There we go. Well, thanks for calling in and always being such a great sport. All right.
All right, Joe. You have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. You too. And that is how you do it on the scoreboard. We make bets here because betting's not legal in North Carolina just yet. Sports betting. So we make bets with callers. If you have a bet you want to make with me, call me up. It's 844-STUDIO-4. No, I'm joking. This is just a fun one. You know, he calls in all the time talking about North Carolina, so let's have some fun with it. I know all of the scoreboard fans are going to be locked in to that Duke North Carolina game on Saturday. And that's coming up. We'll talk a little bit more about that on Friday because that game does preview through the weekend. But I have some other things on the docket that I wanted to talk about. First of all, I watched episode number 1 of NASCAR Full Speed on Netflix. And I don't want to get too into it right now because we are coming up on our next commercial break. But all I have to say right now, without giving away too much, is what in the world was I watching? It did not feel like professionals in a sport that gets millions of dollars. I'll tell you what it did feel like. Also, when we come back from break after we talk, well, let's do it before we go into NASCAR. We're going to hear from new head coach Dave Canals for the Panthers. He did have his introductory press conference today with new GM Dan Morgan. So we'll hear from Dave on the other side of the break. I got a little bit of a clip that I want to share with the listening audience here today. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We are at our halfway point in the show. Oh boy. Lot of news left to cover. We're still going to talk about Formula One a little bit later because there is some big news out of there, and it is growing in the United States. So I'd expect at least some of you listening out there to know what's going on. So don't go anywhere. Stay with me right here. We're halfway through the show. And if you want those tickets, call me up, 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. Thanks, everyone. You have a good one. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
We're getting cold again tonight under a partly cloudy sky. Overnight low temperatures dip back down into the mid-30s, but a nice day, a mild day on the way for our Friday. We'll have sunshine back south of the lake. Temperatures could warm up into the mid-60s. North of Lake Norman, likely warming into the low 60s. But the weekend will be nice, too. We'll have sunshine all the way through. Mornings will be cold, down around freezing, but high temperatures both Saturday and Sunday in the mid-50s. It's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here is a great idea. Donate your car now and help local veterans in your area. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program.
Caller, are you calling in for the scoreboard?
I am calling in to Joe Berg. Is this Joe Berg?
That's me.
Joe Berg, Bill Russell, Lake Norman. How you doing, young man?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Bill?
Doing good. I haven't heard you talk about those cocks, or have I just missed it?
Well, I didn't get to it today. Let me see if I can pull something together, and I'll give him a nice little shout out.
Gamecocks beat number 5 Tennessee 2 nights ago, Kentucky last week, and we play in Georgia on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a pretty decent season with those upsets. I do remember talking about them beating Tennessee. That was a clutch 3 right at the end to clinch that game.
It was, and of course the women are 19-0. They're undefeated and looking really sharp.
Absolutely. Did you want to stick around and come on air because we're at commercial right now?
Doesn't matter. I'm in this parking lot called I-77 and just listening to your show.
Well, hey, I appreciate the call. I got South Carolina pulled up right here. I'll make sure to give them some love when we get back on the air. All right?
All right, buddy. I'm enjoying listening to you. Thank you.
I appreciate that. You have a good one. All right?
All right. Bye-bye.
We're going to give some South Carolina love. Hey, they're good season. Beat Tennessee, the 5 seed. They beat Kentucky. Remember when we talked about Kentucky lost a big game and they lost a second big game now? That first one was against South Carolina, the Gamecocks. 6-2 in the division, game back of Alabama. You know, they might not be ranked, but good team right there. We'll talk about it when we get back from the break.
Introducing the Senior Travel Discount Network, brought to you by Low Cost Airlines. Call us anytime, day or night, and save up to 75% on your airline and hotel reservations. We can help you save a ton of money. Reservation. Now you can get the best prices on air and hotel reservations with your phone. We make it easy and fast for you to save money and book a trip. Remember, call the Senior Travel Discount Network. Mention the discount code 60+ for your free hotel night with your qualified reservation. Call now.
210-503-7591. 210-503-7591. 76 years strong, and we're still the one. WSIC. News, talk, now.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Tens of millions of Americans who carry a balance on their credit card have been in debt for at least a year. Bankrate's Ted Rossman says in many cases, households are dealing with some kind of financial emergency.
Some sort of unexpected medical bill, home repair, car repair, something like that. Day-to-day expenses were second. But I do think there's a cumulative effect to all this. High inflation, higher interest rates. Basically, we're seeing more people carrying more debt for longer periods of time.
Rossman says people are using their credit cards for a variety of reasons.
A lot of people are using cards for rewards and convenience and buyer protections and all that good stuff. The other half, more or less, are paying an average interest rate of about 20%. That becomes persistent debt. It's easy to get in and hard to get out, unfortunately.
Rossman says worried consumers should sign up for a 0% balance transfer credit card and then focus on paying down their debt. Ann Cates, Bloomberg Radio.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is segment number 3 here on the Scoreboard. And I have to say, during the break, if you were watching on our video stream, which you can get on Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, WSICnews.com, if you were watching, you may have heard during the break we had a caller call into the studio. It was actually Bill Russell. Bill Russell, the president of the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, and he hosts a show right here on WSIC called Town Talk. He was like, Joe, what in the world? Why are we not talking about South Carolina? And he's right. We didn't talk all that much about South Carolina. But you know, Bill, we live in North Carolina, and that's South Carolina. I'm just playing with you. South Carolina, man, I think they're a pretty good team, but they've had some huge wins over the season here. Over the last couple of weeks, actually. We talked about the first one when they beat the 6th seed at the time, Kentucky, I'm a little dyslexic, 79-62. And then they beat the 5 seed, Tennessee, 63-59. That was a couple of nights ago. And the Gamecocks upset the University of Tennessee for the first top 5 road win since 1997. So looking on the up and up for South Carolina. In that game, they were led by their leading scorer for the game, Talon Cooper, with 18 points, as well as BJ Mack putting up 16. And then off the bench, Miles Stute was putting up some numbers. That's always big to get that bench production. As South Carolina was able to win 63-59. They are second right now in the SEC at 6-2. Alabama only a game ahead at 7-1. And moving forward, Georgia coming up a couple of days, then a ranked game against Auburn, play some LSU. So a lot of tough ones still yet to come for South Carolina. Keep this up, though, and we will obviously be seeing them come March Madness tournament time. So congratulations, South Carolina. Hopefully we can see you guys making a run, too. Let's talk Carolina Panthers, shall we? Okay. I have this audio from new head coach Dave Canales. And let's just play it. This is a one-on-one interview he had, and he was asked about the culture, and he talked about the Teppers, and it's a quick quip here, but I figured that I thought this was one of the most important things that I heard. So here it is.
There's a lot of things that went into it. I think as I met Mr. and Mrs. Tepper, and I could feel the passion and energy and the competitive nature that they have.
Is that a good thing? I'm going to let you sit with that one for a second. Here's the clip again.
A lot of things that went into it. I think as I met Mr. and Mrs. Tepper, and I could feel the passion and energy and the competitive nature that they have.
It sounds like he just, without saying it, said, yeah, he's going to be meddling in the team. He's going to be telling us what we're going to do. Competitive nature. I don't know if I want my owner to be a competitive guy. I want my owner to be a good businessman, not competitive. Stay out of the football stuff. Stay out of the football stuff. I cannot say it enough. Stay out. Let Dave and Dan do their thing, all right? And if you do that, maybe we'll see some success next year. But that is a red flag to me, in my opinion. I mean, I know it was quick, and he was probably just trying to compliment the owner and look good, but that's a red flag to me. I don't care how competitive the owner is. I want to know if he wants me to do the job that he's going to hire me to do. And he hasn't done that. We have a track record now. This is 6 years strong now, where we don't have our coaches and our GMs making decisions. It's the puppeteer up front called David Tepper. I don't know. I don't like it. I like the hire. I mean, I wouldn't say I love the hire, but I do enjoy the hire in the sense that we got a young guy who was able to run an offense. Baker Mayfield was the head of that offense last year. He got him back to form, took them to the playoffs, won a playoff game. I know he wasn't the head coach, but he was the offensive coordinator there. So you make the good decision in hiring a young offensive guy to help out Bryce Young, but then you interview him and you talk about your competitive spirit. I don't care. I don't want you to have a competitive spirit. I want you to just watch from afar and let me make you the money. Maybe I'm off base here, and if I am, call me up, 844-788-3464. I don't want David Tepper to have a competitive spirit. I don't. I want him to have a business spirit. do what needs to be done so that the football guys can be the competitive ones and do what needs to be done. Because you, being the competitive one and moving the dials, has not been working. And it's only gotten worse over time. So I'm just a little bit annoyed with that coming from the new head coach, Dave Canales. Let me know what you think. I want to hear from you. If you're a Panther fan, 844-788-3464. Are we moving on from this now? Are we happy with where we're at? Do we like Dave Canales? Are we mad about what David Tepper had to say? And I still got to digest the rest of it. It was a big press conference. I didn't have the time to really comb through it tooth and nail and get every clip that I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to go through that. We'll probably have some more tomorrow for you. But I heard that, and immediately I was like, you got to be kidding me. This guy is just basically telling Dave Canales right now that I want to win, so I'm going to do what needs to be done by moving the dials, pushing the buttons. That's my opinion. And I don't know if this is what's going to transpire this year. I don't know if David Tepper is going to realize that, hey, you're the problem right now. Take a step back and let the guys do what they got to do. Or if he is so hell-bent on being the next Jerry Jones that he is going to meddle and have his hands in the pot. Basically, I've used this comparison before. He went to get the ingredients for the chefs, right? He hired the head coach, hired the GM. He even decided who to draft. So he got all the supplies for the cooks. But then when he saw what they were cooking, he said, no. Step aside and let me do it. That's what he's doing. And he needs to stop. And if he doesn't, it's going to be a long tenure for David Tepper in Carolina. I do like one of the excerpts that I heard from Dan Morgan, though, about the Panther logo. It does have to be feared again. He said that logo needs to be feared. When teams come in and they see that on the stadium, they need to know this team, they mean business. And that's going to take a little bit of time to build that kind of a culture. I think he was kind of comparing it to like the Ravens, where the Ravens have a stingy defense. That's just who they are. They're a tough team to play against. That's intimidating. I don't know if Dan Morgan was talking about that specifically, like having a culture like that, but he definitely wants the culture to change, and I am all for it. Because over the past, 6 years now, it's been a losing culture. And that's what we've had for the Panthers over the past few years. We're going to head to our final break of the day. When we return, we're going to talk a little NASCAR. I know I teased it. I did watch NASCAR Full Send, or Full Speed, not Full Send. But we'll see what happens with David Tepper and Dave Canales. So stay with me. Final segment of the show coming up. We also have This Day in Sports History and a nice little clip from 16 years ago today. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this. This is a good one. You're listening to The Scoreboard with me, your host, Joe Berg. We're back right after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
We're getting cold again tonight under a partly cloudy sky. Overnight low temperatures dip back down into the mid-30s, but a nice day, a mild day on the way for our Friday. We'll have sunshine back. South of the lake, temperatures could warm up into the mid-60s. North of Lake Norman, likely warming into the low 60s. But the weekend will be nice, too. We'll have sunshine all the way through. Mornings will be cold, down around freezing, but high temperatures both Saturday and Sunday in the mid-50s. It's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Merlefest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more, tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Mooresville Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Chi-Town Transit Authority is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. Come hear the 8-piece Chicago tribute band, horn and woodwind sections included. Chi-Town Transit Authority, Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. kanearts.org. That's CAINarts.org. The North Carolina Gun Collectors Association Gun Show is coming to the Statesville Civic Center, February 3rd and 4th. Always remember, safety first. For more info, including show rules and restrictions, visit the North Carolina Gun Collectors Association website. The NCGCA Gun Show, February 3rd and 4th, Statesville Civic Center. Want to attend the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Make your work easier with Eagle Rentals of Troutman and Statesville. Eagle Rentals has generators, heaters, fans, painting equipment, floor care equipment, pressure washers, lighting equipment, and lawn care equipment. Plus, Eagle Rentals has construction equipment like forklifts, bobcat loaders, backhoes, excavators, and more. Reserve online at eaglerentals.com. That's eaglerentals.com.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, final segment of the program here today on the Scoreboard. 844-788-3464 is your phone number to call. Do you want these tickets? I've been trying to give them away. Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd to the 25th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Don't miss featured guest Craig Conover as Bravo's hit series Southern Charm. He'll be there on Friday and on Saturday. Call up 844-788-3464. These 4 tickets could be yours. There is no trivia question. There is no gotcha moment here. There is only first caller in who wants these tickets. They'll be yours. Because we're at the end of the show. We got about 10 minutes to deal with here, and then we will be moving on. Some Formula One news here. Lewis Hamilton confirmed to drive for Ferrari in the 2025 season. So he's going to stay with Mercedes one more year before making the leap to Ferrari. Now, this comes hours after Formula One rejected Andretti's bid to join Formula One in 2025. So Michael Andretti partnered with Cadillac for a joint bid to enter the championship in 2025 or 2026, but that request was formally rejected, but the door was left open for the team to enter in 2028. One of the big takeaways from this is the engine. It was said that if Cadillac and General Motors were able to get into the Formula One grid for 2025 or 2026, that they would be using the Formula Renault engines, which I don't think F1 wanted that, but General Motors has said that they will be able to produce their own engines starting in 2028. I think that Lewis Hamilton story is a little bit old. I think it might be a couple of days old, actually. Formula One was just waiting to drop it at the right time because it's a distraction. Everybody wanted more cars on the grid. Everybody was excited for Andretti to be on the grid in 2025. You know, we might be getting Audi out there. Now we got Cadillac and General Motors, but it's going to have to wait. So an interesting little turn of events there in the Formula One season. It's going to be weird to see Lewis Hamilton in anything other than a Mercedes because he was dominant in that thing. One of the most dominant drivers of his era. And now you move on to Ferrari. All right, let's get to this NASCAR action, all right? I watched NASCAR Full Speed. I watched episode 1. Oh my goodness. They did not paint these drivers in a positive light at all. Half of them sounded like crybabies and whiners. And oh my goodness, the few interaction between crew members that I saw, it was just so backhanded and like snarky, and man, it didn't make me feel like NASCAR was a fun place to work. It was bad, honestly. It wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't a bad show. But look, why are you making the drivers seem not like you're making them seem like divas? And I mean, they are. And they featured Denny Hamlin. I mean, gosh, Denny. Took 5 minutes for him to start boasting about how much money he had. What are you doing? What was that? It is terrible. I mean, the show is going to be good. The way they're producing it is good, but the edit and the way that they're making these drivers present themselves is missing the mark for me. You know, I've been clamoring for more personality in NASCAR. More personality in NASCAR. Well, I didn't want bad personality, and that's what this show is kind of showing us right now. You know? But it is only the first episode. I only saw the first episode. There's 5 of them. They're all available on Netflix. They're about 45 minutes each. So if you have some time, check it out, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's quite the interesting show. This day in sports history, let's get to a little bit of it. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is something that happened on ESPN. 16 years ago today, the Lakers traded Kwame Brown to the Grizzlies for Pau Gasol, a pick, and they sent the Grizzlies Kwame Brown and quite a bit, a couple of first-round picks. ESPN covering it, and I'm just going to let Stephen A. Smith take it away with one of the greatest moments in sports television/radio history. This was amazing. Just listen up.
Did LA give up too much to get a guy who has been labeled soft, although he puts up 19-9, which only 11 other guys do?
Is that a trick question?
You tell me.
They gave up Kwame Brown.
Two
Who
first
cares?
rounders.
I could care less.
Tied into his salary for 4 years.
First of all, understand something. When you're giving up first-round picks, if you are a quality team in playoff contention, it really doesn't mean that much. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Doesn't have a post move that he puts to memory that he can do 2 times in a row. He has no game whatsoever. Plays no defense. Doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it. And you're asking me whether they gave up too much? Please, the Los Angeles Lakers knew exactly what they were doing. They should be celebrating right now, and Kobe Bryant should not be saying a word.
That was one of the greatest rants in sports talk history. Kwame, everybody knows that one. That was 16 years ago on this day. Also, in sports history, on this day, this is a good one. 2004. The New England Patriots were playing the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl. It was a much nicer time to be a Panther fan in the area. But then halftime came. Yeah, this was on this day, February 1st, 2024. Janet Jackson's breast is exposed during the halftime show of Super Bowl, resulting in U.S. broadcasters adopting a stronger adherence to FCC censorship guidelines. That was the halftime show on this day in 2004. And what a moment in history that was. The ripples that sent through the world. I've heard stories about TV stations getting calls from angry parents like, what were you showing during the Super Bowl halftime show? And I'm not surprised by that. People overreact to everything. But that was just something that happened on this day back in 2004. Also on this day in 2014, Adam Silver became the 5th NBA commissioner. And for better or worse, people have decided that he is a good commissioner. And I agree. He's made a lot of interesting changes to the NBA. Some people might not like it. Play-in tournament, in-season tournament. But he's known as the players commissioner. Everybody loves him. He talks to the players. I think he does an okay job. I think he could do a little bit better, but what commissioner couldn't? Because the NBA, man, sometimes it lacks, what's the word I'm looking for? It lacks substance, you know? It's just guys going up to the line and shooting threes now. I think if Commissioner Silver was to back down on the defensive penalties a little bit and let these guys actually play defense, he would be hailed as the greatest commissioner in NBA history. Also, 2015, the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Seahawks was on this day. Malcolm Butler, the hero in that one, getting the interception on Russell Wilson right at the goal line as time was winding down. That clinched the Super Bowl for Tom Brady and the Patriots. Let's see if there's anything else worth noting here. The 62nd Rose Bowl, number 11 UCLA beats number 1 Ohio State. That was on this day in 1976. The final score of that one, 23-10. Well, thanks everyone for tuning into the Scoreboard today. That's pretty much all we got for you today. I was unable to get to the NHL and the NBA, really. I mean, I put them in the back of the show for a reason. It is what it is. We'll try again tomorrow to cover everything. But thanks. Tomorrow's Friday. The problem is, the only football this weekend is the Pro Bowl. I don't know if anybody really wants to watch the Pro Bowl games because it's not a game anymore. There's no pads. There's no hitting. Well, not that there was any hitting over the past 10 years. Flag football. Flag football. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be tuning into that. But you should tune in right here on WSIC to the Scoreboard tomorrow. Same time, 6 o'clock. I will be here live on air, letting you know what's going on in the world of sports. Thanks, everyone, for showing up today. Thanks to all the callers today. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.
The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.